I apologize, kind of a late live stream. I was going to do one earlier in the day, and I decided, you know what, let's go ahead and see what we can do in the evening. And so I scheduled it for this evening, knowing that I wasn't really going to be able to do anything on Monday as I have been doing in the past because I have an appointment, a DMV appointment, and anybody who's tried to book a DMV appointment lately knows that you can't book one like for next week. It's like a month and a half out. So it's something that I needed to take care of. So my apologies with that. We have a few people rolling in, so we're going to kind of give people a chance to kind of settle in here. For those of you who are watching the program right now, of course, your participation is really necessary because, as you know, I have some content to kind of cover usually on these live streams, but this program is almost 100% dependent on your participation, your comments, and of course your questions, which give me information to talk about sometimes. If you are watching this live with me, you are welcome to support the channel. Super sticker, super chat that goes right back in. I've been trying to buy different equipment. I had somebody that said something about how my lighting was kind of off. So something I'm actually going to be looking into here pretty soon. If you're watching the show after the fact, please comment down below. And, you know, even if you have a question that maybe you missed the live stream, I will try to get back to you with an answer as soon as possible. And looks like we have about 14 people. I'm thinking we'll probably have about 40 or 50 watching this live, maybe more than that. It's usually what we get. And depending on the conversation, maybe we'll get a lot of people who watch this video. And that's kind of the idea behind these. Sometimes it is very difficult to generate really good eBay talking points and discussions. And I've done 280 videos, I think 260 or 280 videos. And it's like, how much can you cover, you know, and how many videos can you do before you pretty much covered everything? But you know what? Sometimes I'm surprised by, you know, your questions and comments, and that does certainly help. So comment down below, and that does help. But you know what? The only thing I ask, you know, I take time out of my day to do these, is that you hit the like button. You know, even if you don't agree with me, you know, you might think I'm a moron or whatever. Please, if you enjoyed just the conversation, the fact that we're having it on a weekend, hit that like button. That's all I really ask. That's your price of admission today. So with that said, I want to say hi to the folks in the chat. We have the Monster Loon in the house. We have Simplify 1918. We have Marjorie, the stuffologist. How you doing? We have my lovely wife, Jenna. Hey, Flippin' Fam. The Disgruntled Octopus is with us, and it's morning from the future. So I'm assuming you're talking Sunday morning, maybe Australia, if I'm not mistaken. We have Deborah JK. Happy Saturday for those of us who are here in the United States. And we have Simplify says, had someone ask if it was a smoke-free home and if it was a COVID-free home, and said they would buy it, but no ties. Well, I don't know your situation, but I mean, if it was me, I probably would have responded that currently it is a smoke-free and COVID-free home. You know, I had COVID, as you guys know, last year. Actually, I take that back. I had it twice. I had the first variant in 2020, and then last year we had the Omicrons, or whatever the heck they called it. And that one wasn't even nearly as bad. But hopefully it's all over with the warm weather and all that. Let's just hope. So let's see. We have Winter Crow in the house. Hey, John. Hey, Jenna. Happy weekend. Ed, the reselling writer, is packing up his whatnot orders while hearing my live, going to comment here and there. Has to figure out how to ship out 9 shoes together in a box. Yeah, Franken boxes are fun. I do keep about 5 different size boxes here. And of course, I'm going to have to, every once in a while, just to get the box right, you have to get that box cutter, and you got to measure the dimensions and everything and get it just right. So I do know what you're talking about when it comes to Franken boxes. And sometimes you have to be very, very creative. That's for sure. Let's see. Margie says, finally caught you live. Thank you for being here. We have a lot of folks rolling in, so that's pretty good. We have Kevin. Thanks, Kevin, for showing up today and hanging out with us. And then the Monster Loons is first time in a while that I've done a live when you're available. And, I try to mix it up a little bit. Sometimes we'll do it in the morning like we did a little while ago, and then we're doing it in the evening today. Hopefully you guys aren't working too hard here on the weekend. Like Ed's doing his shipping. That's kind of when I do my shipping. Usually Sunday evening is when I get my shipping orders ready. That kind of thing. What I did was I kind of made a plan to make Saturdays for me sort of an account maintenance slash accounting day. And then something I'm going to do here on out. Account maintenance, meaning kind of going through different listings that maybe don't look right, that maybe I've missed. Going through and trying to cross list, because I really don't do a lot of cross listing during the week. So trying to cross list, I was working a lot on Amazon today, and you have to be really careful with Amazon because of the gating issue. Of course, they'll smack you down even if you're not gated. Oops, there's something flying in my face. If you're not gated, then you can't sell it. It's just bottom line. You have to get permission. You got to get approval. You have to send in those lovely invoices that we love as resellers. And it's just one of those things where I get the rejection when I go to try to list it on Amazon. It's time to move on, find a different item. And then maybe you find that item that only the brand is selling that item, but it gives you permission to sell it, but nobody else is reselling that item. Take my word for it. Don't do it. Go to another item, because that brand will probably report you to Amazon. And so you don't want that. What I look for is where it has a listing on Amazon where you can find multiple listings. And if you can find like multiple people selling the same item, maybe used or new, and if you can get through the gating process on that, then it's a green light. And so it's kind of a hit and miss thing. And I probably listed I'd say about 8 items today out of the 20 or 30 that I was considering. So just something to consider if you're thinking about cross-posting over to Amazon. Now, if you've been selling on Amazon for quite some time, you're probably grandfathered into a lot of these companies and categories. So it's going to be a lot easier for you to, do the cross-listing than it is for someone like me or someone who maybe is just trying it for the first time. Part of the discussion that I wanted to talk to you guys about, something that I think is very important, and that is setting goals for your business, setting goals for even if it's part-time income, setting goals. I mean, are we just blindly, and I think a lot of us can be guilty of this. We're blindly just listing items, right? We're blindly listing items and shipping items, and we really don't have a feel for our numbers. I can tell you, I went through my numbers and I was averaging, and of course, this is just what I do. You guys, before I give you my numbers, these are things that I'm doing based on being a full-time reseller with the type of merchandise that I'm listing. Everyone is different. You might have a one-man band. You might have, a whole crew behind you. You might have just a totally different type of item. So these numbers are going to be different. But my numbers from last year, from 2021, is I averaged $9,443 in sales. Now that's what eBay has reported that I averaged on a monthly basis. And my average sale price, so that's after my sale and my shipping, was $48.46. That's the average month over month for 2021. And another thing is my costs averaged out at $2,262. So that's figuring in shipping that eBay knows about, all labels that I bought through eBay, eBay fees, final value fees, promoted fees. That is low. I can tell you that's probably a little low. Maybe I'd say $300, $400, $500 a month low, because I did do quite a few labels on Pirate Ship and Shippo last year. And so that number is going to be on the low side a little bit. Now, I go in, compare to what I'm doing this year through the end of April. I'm averaging only $7,200 a month in sales. So I'm off over $2,000 a month in sales. My average sales price is down $3 and change. It's at $45.38. However, my expenses are at $22.33. So my expenses are up, my sales are down. Now, of course, fees go up and all that. Makes me wonder if, because now remember, back in 2021, anybody's been looking at my account or watching my videos, I only had like a 300, 400 item store max all of 2021. And now I'm up to almost 700 items. So I'm really starting to think that 1,000 item store, because of the end item and sell similar situation, is probably not big enough. I'm gonna have to make a move to the next level. I believe gives me 10,000 free listings, which will hold me over for quite some time and allow me to grow, because I think what those higher fees partially are from is listing more items in a month than I'm given. And that's the relists and the new items I'm posting. One thing you have to consider when you're considering the store size that you're looking for, you might have 500 items in your store, but you might also have sold 200 items that month. So that's 700 listings, because you're 500 plus the 200 you sold, not to mention all the end item, relist items, that type of thing. So just something to consider. Being close to $700 in sales, 700 items for sale. It's, I think, time to get my store right. But as far as goals are concerned, I know that I'm looking at what I did last year. Things were great in May. Things were great, pretty good in June on average. July and August kind of hit me, and September. I think I averaged about $2,000 less per month those 3 months. So for me, even though I'm already down in sales, and a lot of that can be attributed to the type of items that I'm selling, but it's a numbers game. So if the idea is, if I was only operating with about 400 items last year, if I can get it up to around 1,000, then in theory, I'm going to experience, double the sales, right? Now, of course, we have a different type of merchandise that we're selling. So that's going to affect the bottom line, because you can already see, based on my numbers, I'm already down as compared to last year. But I think even with the numbers I'm dealing with this year, the idea that I'm going to increase the size of my store is going to allow me to at least normalize my numbers a little bit when the slowdown does come. And historically it will. And if you guys sold last year, you guys would see that there was a decrease around July, August, as compared to the year before, when everyone was locked in their house. So set goals, because if you don't set a goal, if you're just doing this blindly, you're going to get blindsided. You have to be prepared for the slow times, and you have to be able to get through the slow times, especially if you really rely on this income to pay your bills. And, we're about 2 months away from that slow period, but, don't start thinking about it come June 30th. Start now. Start figuring out a plan. And what are you going to do to get through those slow months? Maybe put your ideas down below. Let me know your thoughts and what you plan on doing. What are your goals? Have you set goals? And we're not talking New Year's resolutions and things that you easily break. I'm talking about, what is your plan right now? Because see, not only do we have the summer slowdown coming, we have a bad economy. We have, and I constantly say this on videos, but we have 8% inflation, and they're saying that's based on the numbers, the way they calculated the inflation. That's a lot. That's going to prevent people from having that extra income, because they're spending it on groceries, they're spending it on gas, they're spending it on things that they have to need to buy to survive. And having that extra $50 to buy your item may not be there for them. So what are you going to do to get through those months? So I'd like to see if you have a plan. Put your information down below. And that's kind of what I have for you today. And hopefully we can have a pretty good discussion with your questions. But I definitely want to know, are you planning? Are we getting ready, getting your business ready for, and forget the economy for a second. Every year in the summer, we do have a slowdown. So, unless you are maybe taking your great sales from the beginning of the year and sort of just putting that money in savings and just riding the storm, maybe going on vacation, not really selling, maybe shutting your store down. I'd like to know, what your plans are. So if you could put that down below, I'd appreciate that. And we have Ricardo. Greetings from Orange County, California. How you doing, Ricardo? Very expensive place to live, Orange County, for sure. And Braro, hi all, how you doing? Vic the Brick Sports Cards. It's all about having great photos. Yeah, it is. Like I answered your comment, especially if you're selling sports cards, because people want to see those imperfections. That's for sure. Beth, hi from Canada. How you doing? Justin Ashley, hi all. How you doing? Winter Crow, always good to see everyone on a very busy weekend. So much going on. It's just great to settle down for a live chat. And as soon as we're done here, this live stream, Jen and I, we're going to go to there's like a little farmer's market that's in town in Vegas. And they have all the food trucks and they have people selling different things. This is the time of year where people start getting out doing things rather than sitting at home and buying things. And, it just makes me think, that's why I kind of mentioned this in the live stream details. And that is, think about setting goals. And it's just not enough to just start listing every day. It's just really not. And it's very important if you want to have a successful business that you figure out, look at your numbers. If you've been selling for a while, took me literally 30 minutes. You go into your performance, you go under sales, and you type in custom value. Pick a month. You do it, maybe take a spreadsheet and do month over month for 2021, and then do month over month for 2022. Look at your sales, your average sales price, and your costs. And you might be surprised of the trends that you'd see from last year, and maybe surprised how this year is going, and to maybe kind of give yourself a snapshot of how this year is shaping up. For me, not so good. I can, like I said, attribute that to the type of items I'm selling, not having the greatest palettes as compared to last year. Harder to find merchandise. That's certainly impacting me. But I'm looking at this month, it's better than last. So we're just going to build off of that. Lilac Seller, hey all, how you doing? Ryan LeBear, hi all. Simplify 1918, going to be sad with the loss of my old job. I no longer get the free, nice, reusable boxes. Luckily, I stocked up. And I get a lot of the boxes from the liquidation stuff. You can get good deals. Uline has some pretty good deals. They have every size box you can imagine. Of course, Amazon or eBay, you can find sellers that have deals on boxes where it's about $2 a box, that type of thing. And it just, it just adds up to the cost of what you're selling. That's why I think it's important to have that. If you're doing calculated shipping, have that padding in there for that $1 or $2 sometimes, if it's a larger item, into your handling, so that, if it costs you $20 to ship through the eBay label, you're getting 22. That'll help you pay for that box you had to pay for. Ricardo says, John, are you using the new eBay listing template? Yes. What are some of your high-level pros and cons? You will be switching many over very soon. Well, the eBay lister, I can tell you, I only really use it when I'm making a listing where I feel like a video is valuable. So for me, an electronics item, let's say I have a vintage or a old model like stereo receiver or printer or something that I can show the buyer within 30, 40 seconds what that item, it's doing what it's supposed to do. I think that's pretty valuable, because people, they don't mind buying used items, of course, as long as they can see that it works. Pictures don't do that usually. I mean, you can show a picture of the item powered on, but if you're showing that, the features that this item is supposed to do, this item works, then, that's a benefit that's going to gain confidence in that buyer, and they'll be more apt to buy your item. Aside from that, I'm not impressed with the lister. And therefore, when I'm not listing an item that doesn't require a video, I click off. Actually, I go back to the classic view. Now, eventually, I think eBay is going to make us all use that lister. But as far as the pros, it's not that special to me. I don't really have a lot of pros. I don't think it's any faster. Some of you do think it's faster, and that's fine. Item specifics are somewhat important to me. I think it's very important that the uh, listing should have at least the recommended filled out for the most part. And the more you have, the more you're going to have on your external Google views, the more you have an option of having that buyer who's looking and searching for that particular feature when they're doing the search. So I think in the new lister, it's a little bit more convoluted. Like if I'm typing in a value that's not offered in one of the check boxes, and I'm typing it in, and it happens to start with the same letter as one of their prefab values, it's going to stop me and try to make me use that value. So I have to stop and then type it in again. And that's a pain. If you, the last time I used it, every photo that I tried to lighten, it would say it was an invalid photo, and I had to delete the photo and just to get it out of there. I couldn't undo my work, and I had to reload the photo again. So those two things just made it to where it was just not a thing for me. Of course, if I have to use it, I will. But until then, I'm using the classic version. So hopefully that gives you, try it out. Take take a day's worth of listings. Don't just do it for one listing. Try it, 10, 20 listings and give it a shot. The good thing now is I'm doing a lot of my listings mostly on the app. So I get most of it, item specifics, almost everything in the app done, except once I launch the listing, I'll go back in and I will do a template for my description, which I still only do for the desktop buyers. I really think that your description, it does need to have the right words in there. But as far as making it look fancy, as I have in the past, I think that's really not a thing. Most of your people are buying your goods with their iPad, tablet, phone, that type of thing. We have Craig Winans. Hey, everybody. Hope you all are having a great day today. Thanks, Craig, for hanging out with us today. I appreciate that. We have If It Flips, It Ships. Today, I folded a medium flat rate in half. The post office rejected it. They can reject it. Now, best thing to probably do is if you're only using half of that box, I mean, you're going to be paying the flat rate anyway. Just pad it up real good with the extra space that you're not using. Or, of course, try to find a smaller flat rate if you can. Ed says, I'm happy with any amount of money I get, but I do have goals in reselling to be able to support my family. And that's what it boils down to. I mean, who does this for fun? I mean, for me, I do enjoy what I do. Don't get me wrong. I enjoy making the videos talking about eBay. I enjoy getting out there and just getting into my groove and getting into a rhythm and getting my items listed and really having that sense of accomplishment at the end of the day and feeling good about what I did, and I guess you can have that feeling at any job, but you're doing it for yourself. At the end of the day, you go to work for a 9 to 5. Does your boss really respect or appreciate what you're putting into it? Do they really give you that sense of accomplishment that only you can give yourself if you run your own business? I mean, some bosses are good, but let's face it, most just take you for granted. And at least when you're doing your own thing, you don't have that burden of thinking, am I appreciated? All that nonsense, you can't get the day off. And I know I'm kind of going off on a tangent on that, but there's just so many reasons why you need to treat this as a business. And taking care of your family is certainly the number one motivation. Being able to have that spending money to go on vacation, but you've got to be able to give yourself a chance to get there and to take care of those bills and to take care of those things that you want. And you have to set goals and get an understanding. How many of us out here, I mean, if you're being honest with yourself, how many of you even looked at your numbers this year and compared them to last year? How many even know what you really did on a month-to-month basis last year? And, that's something you need to really keep. You really need to have the pulse of your store, your eBay business. You have to know what's going on because, you're doing it blind and you can only run into trouble. How do you know you're having a bad month if you don't know what you did last year? So it's very important. Ed says, as it is Now thought it's getting super hard sourcing, and my regular source is now shifting to new shoes than used. That's a huge hit to my inventory. Also, they're starting to price up their used. Things are going to get more expensive. We talked about that 8% inflation. I think it's more than that. We're talking groceries have gone up a ton more than that. Right now, I don't even think we've seen the price increases that we're going to see. We're talking about, or they've been talking on some of these videos about stuff being stuck in the middle of the ocean on these tankers still. And I noticed that back in December, and it's still a thing. And it's happening here. It's happening in China, where a lot of these goods are made. And that's going to be a problem. And that's going to make it harder for you to get the merchandise you want. Now, maybe, you don't need new merchandise. You totally deal with yard sales and things of that nature. It's not going to affect you as much yet. But for a lot of us who rely on that new merchandise, I think it's going to be a problem. Patricia is in the house. Used shoes have increased prices. They do. Yaz says, when I upgrade my sales stop, so I've had to downgrade to get sales. And sometimes, I'm looking at my numbers. I'm trying to figure out, why is my average sales price going down? And it totally is in line with the lack of inventory that I wanted to sell. On months that I had great stuff, I had months last year about this time, I was making $76 average sale price, $60 average sale price. And now it's down to like mid 40s. And that's a direct correlation with being able to pick up the merchandise that you're looking for, rather than just settling for what's available. Craig says, I take a friend to one near me and get great boxes there. Plus, every now and then I get styrofoam containers, and the boxes, they come in along with the ice packs. So it looks like a dialysis clinic. If you go to a dialysis clinic near you, you can try to get some boxes. So that's a good point. And also, if you go behind one of those like strip malls where you have like a grocery store and a bunch of other stores that are adjacent to it, a lot of times you'll see boxes back there. And, I wouldn't jump into the dumpster to get the boxes, but it's just a good source to get boxes. I've never had to do that. I've never really gone to that extreme, but of course, if you want to save money on your shipping supplies, you certainly can do that. Let's see here. Patricia says the slowdown is hell, and it's not here yet. Every category has a different slowdown period, but when I speak, I'm speaking in generalities, because I sell pretty much, as you guys know, pretty much everything. And right now, historically, my numbers say that May and June should be pretty good. Come July and August, even September, not so much. So, it just, I'm talking about it now because I don't want to talk about it June 30th when it's a little too late. Start looking at things to do. I'm building my store up. I want to play the numbers game, because to me, I can take on the extra merchandise. I still have room to store more things, even though I hate that word, storing more things. But, eBay is still giving me the kind of traffic. I think I'm up 22% in traffic. I'm just not converting the sales. Let's see. Semperfi says, my plan, John, is to organize and get the shelving for my store up now that spring, summer are here, and I've got a lot of inventory to hold for a while, and we'll be looking to see how to improve my sourcing. And that's really, really the key. Thankfully, I was able to, I bought 80 boxes of the Amazon like mystery box stuff. And I can tell you, I've probably only gone through about a dozen. And the thought process behind that is, instead of opening them all up at one time, is you tend to forget about the stuff the borderline stuff, like, I don't really want to mess with this. I'm going to go and open this next box and see if I have something good in there. And then you start getting only the good stuff out. And when you get down to the stuff that you really don't want to mess with, you start to lose motivation. So for me, it's like this. I'm going to open a couple boxes, and I'm going to go through it. If it's something that I don't want to mess with, I know that the price wise, it's not going to be worth my time, condition wise or whatever, it's just not going to work to be put on my store. I'll put it into a liquidation box. Now, if it's broken in pieces, I'll throw it away, but I'll put it into a liquidation box. And the idea behind that is I'll get about 20, 30 boxes when it's all said and done, full of stuff that I'll sell to someone who'll come in for a couple $100 and take it off my hands. But the stuff that I want to mess with, basically, that borderline item, I'm more apt to sell it. I'm more motivated to sell it because I want to get to the next box and see what's in there. But I will not allow myself to do that until I get through these items that I've put aside that does have value. You know, even if it's that $15, $20 item, you guys know I kind of don't like so much because I like to keep my ASP up. But I'm motivated just to get it done and move on. And that way, I think by the time I hit June, July, you know, I'll have that stuff listed instead of just sitting there and I'm not motivated to list it. That's kind of my thought behind that. Biscuit Butts in the house. How you doing, Archie? Glad you can hang out with us. We have Patricia Thompson, big Goodwill sale next Saturday. Hope to crush it, 50% off. Can't sleep. So now Goodwill, you know, there are items. I mean, I still go there. I still go maybe once a week because I have all the stuff in my garage. Just the motivation to get out there isn't as high as it was when I was going like every 2 days. But the prices they start off at, I mean, when you're talking 50% off, it's almost like, isn't that what it should be priced in the first place? So, you know, and then you have to deal with all the people who are going out on that particular day. And, you know, you may not find half the stuff you're hoping to see. Tommy Bernard podcast, if the item doesn't sell within 3 months for most things and 6 months for more higher end items, I don't buy it unless it's part of a bundle. Sales never really slow unless eBay is tinkering back end. And they do tinker back end. I mean, they like to do that in your fall seller update. So yeah, it's one thing to get ready for a slow summer sales, you know, month or two, but you have to also get ready for that slow post fall seller update that if they get in there and work their magic can really slow most everyone down like they've had in the past. Water Baby says, hi, everyone. Thank you for hanging out with us. We have about 50 people right now watching, so that's pretty good. No Agenda 77. I have been easing into clothing and necessity items. My sales have been picking up. Seems like eBay in general is starting to pick up. And right now is not a bad time. I think this month for me was better than last. And of course, again, talking about better stuff to sell. But I anticipate for the next 2 months, it's going to be okay still. It's just getting through those next 3 months is going to be the challenge. And that's why I'm working my tail off to get that stuff out there listed. I'm actually still making good sales, but I'm listing more than I'm selling, which is the key. You want to build your store if you can. Let's see. Yeah, items are dead once you get to thousands. So I'm recycling old listings by removing, redoing completely as if a newly purchased item. It's better than buying more and paying for larger store. And that process is your end item sell similar. So you go through your items that maybe have been sitting for a while. What I do is if it's about to recycle to the new 30-day fixed listing, before it recycles, I'll just go in and I'll end the item and I'll sell similar and make the changes. You know, you'll be surprised. You go through your listings, you'll be surprised. Like, I didn't know I had my title that way, or maybe I need to take a couple better photos than what I have here. Maybe the price is too high. I think a lot of times we want more for our items than the market is okay with, and that item will not sell unless it has a high demand, and then pretty much you can overprice it. But most of us don't have that problem. LSGS Rob, hey man, just made it. How's everything going? How's sales? Well, if you missed it, my sales are kind of picking up, as I mentioned, but I'm way off of last year's numbers. So, you know, it's just more motivation for me to try to, if I can list 10, maybe I can list 15, right? If I've been listing 15, maybe I can just list 20 before I stop. And for me, it's just getting that store built up to where maybe I run out of this stuff. Maybe I'm not able to get more stuff to resell. And like Biscuit Butt and I were looking at buying more stuff. I was buying 20 box lots and bought 4 of those 80 lots boxes worth. And now the same seller is selling less boxes and it's pretty much the same price. So the price of merchandise is going up, and that's the tough part. Um, of course, we have to raise our prices to make up for that. But is the market going to allow us to pass on the cost of goods to the buyer? I mean, eventually you'd think it would, but it's that give and take that and it doesn't matter what I want for the item. The market is going to dictate what I can get for it. LSGS Robs is asking, Yaz, what do you sell? I have over 3,000 items, have no issues with sales, and I sell clothing. And that's a saturated market. So you really have to play the numbers game. You have over 3,000 items, and that's probably what's getting you through. If you only had a 500 item store with clothing, I guarantee you'd have a harder time. Water Baby says, I get reused small bath and lighting fixture boxes just right for what I mostly sell. I also reuse from sheets that my hubby saves from his work cabinet shop. Okay. Finding things like if you get something from Amazon, don't throw out the boxes. Don't throw out the packing material. Keep that stuff. Let's see. Justin says the new version of the lister, I've lost the ability to add the SKU. That's a pain. It's got to be in there. I know it's in the app, but I really don't spend a lot of time in the new lister. I really don't. And, I'm good with that. But I know it's on the app. You just got to look in the item specifics. So look at the bottom of the item specifics. It might be there. No Agenda 777 sourcing to me is better than drugs. So fun. Well, I don't know anything about drugs because I don't do drugs. I think this Mio that I have in my water is the closest thing that I'll do to drugs today. But sourcing is so fun that some people that I know, and I won't mention his name, but he might be watching this video, enjoys it so much that some of us will buy stuff, get that high of opening the item, and then just not list it. And it's not a hoarding thing. I mean, hoarding is different. I think it's just part of that fun, but it's not so fun to ship it. I mean, you can ask Ed right now. He's sitting on his couch shipping stuff, and I'm sure he'd be rather be doing something else. But it's part of the package, and you have to embrace the shipping as much as you're embracing the sourcing to get through it, because you'll just hate it. You'll hate it once you get all the stuff that, okay, I got all this stuff opened. I went to the yard sale, went to the thrift store, found all these great things, and now the work actually starts. And a lot of us fail to meet our goals, or maybe I wanted to list 10 to 15 today, but I'm not as motivated as I was yesterday when I was buying it. LSGS Rob says, not that I do this for fun per se, but I do genuinely enjoy every aspect of reselling, which I think gives me an edge sometimes. And I got to tell you, the only thing that I dread, and I'll be, if I'm being honest with you, I will be honest on this live stream, and that is large items. Just I tend to put them near the end of my list of all the stuff that I need to ship. So I get to the small stuff, and then I'll look at that item and I know I made $100 on this item, but man, this is going to hurt my back. Or, getting this thing packed properly is just going to be a pain. But, I'm getting old. I'm 48 years old. And, I don't know if you guys need to know that, but you know what? For me, the smaller items are more appealing. And I think, I'm not the only one that feels that way. Shipping is definitely the low point for me, but you know what? I have to embrace it. That's why I like to get it out of the way. Sunday night comes, I'll have hopefully 20 or 30 orders, and I'm going to knock most of those out, and I'll have a few left over, maybe some residual sales Sunday night, and Monday morning, I'm getting the rest of it done. I'm not going to save it until Monday. I mean, that's a bad start. Talking about motivational Monday, that's the way to demotivate yourself. You're sitting on all these items that have sold, and then Monday you're out there trying to get all these items shipped. That's just a pain. Water Baby says I had to stop sourcing for a while until I can list what I have, and sometimes you have to. You get so many items in in your storage area, garage area that you're storing your items, and you can't even navigate through it. And that's kind of the problem I have right now in my garage. So I'm definitely not buying anything. Maybe we'll buy a lot here, a lot there, but I'm not really focused all that much on. I'm not in panic mode like I was a month ago. Let's see. eBay claims I'm the number 4 seller of pre-owned women's athletic shoes out of 56,000 plus items. After seeing that, I wonder how accurate their data is. I'm small fries compared to some I see. Who knows? That's interesting. I don't have that problem. I guess that's a very good problem to have. It's better being fourth to the last, right? Just keep doing what you're doing. It sounds like, all the times you check in with us on these live streams, sounds like you're killing it. And right now it's still a hot time of year. As you know, shoes sort of have, well, you said they sell year round, but for me, I know that a lot of sellers, shoe sellers, have said, and I've sort of experienced this as well when I dabbled in shoes a couple years ago, that your March, April, your springtime, and your fall happens to be the peak season for you guys. Let's see. Winter Crow says, make sure you hit that like button. Yes, I'd appreciate that. Please do hit that like button. It helps the channel. It's another goal that I have. We talk about, like the video I put out last week, be careful of the sellers that you watch on YouTube. And there's some good ones out there. Don't get me wrong. I mean, I'm nowhere near what I want to be as a YouTuber. Certainly I have a lot to fix, a lot to get better at. I'm going to be honest with you about that. I'm not going to sit here and prop myself up to be something I'm not. Just an average guy that's selling on eBay. And you know what? Talking about it with you guys, actually, it's fun. It gets me something to look forward to. I enjoy making the videos. But, you have a lot of folks out there, who are making channels, and they're doing it for the wrong reasons, and they're not genuine. And I guess the reason why I mention this is, I'm trying to build this channel, and along the lines, I just got a sponsorship offer, and I think I'm going to turn it down. I don't know if that sponsor is watching. I'm sorry, but the thing is, I am going to remain true to myself, true to my viewers, true to this channel. A day may come where I might have a sponsorship on here, and it's not because I'm out for the money. It's not because I'm changing who I am. It's because I'm trying to maximize my time. I'm trying to maximize the reach of this information. If, like right now, if I'm helping a dozen people, it's great. I mean, if this information can help 200 people, that's even better. And, my time, it does have some value, and I'm sure you'd feel the same way if you did something. And I think at some point, this channel may have a sponsor. I promise one thing I will never ever do, and that is, create some kind of a wacky program, and say, okay, if you want this information, pay me $39.95 a month, and you can go here and go there. If you want all the information, you have to pay me. I think that's just wrong. I mean, that's my thoughts on that. So I'm never going to be that guy, but there may be a time where we do sponsorships on this channel. I just want you guys to know that, because I made this channel not really for myself. I want to help people, but I don't want to turn people off in the process. So, put your thoughts down below on that. I definitely want to know what you guys would think, but don't be surprised in the future if we have something like that happens. Let's see. Water Baby says prices are up at thrift stores and not as much on the shelves. Disheartening to hear that thrift stores are pulling the good stuff and selling it themselves. They're trying to maximize their profits. It's the funny thing is, a lot of these thrift stores, I believe Goodwill is a nonprofit, right? And they're still trying to maximize the money that they bring in. I guess in theory, the more money you bring in, the more you can put into these programs that, like the Salvation Army has, Goodwill, where you put it back into the community. And then let's hope that's what they're doing with it. So I guess it's a good thing from that standpoint, but you're right. It's a lot of bare shelves at some of these Goodwills that I go to, and it's just kind of sad. And the stuff that's there, it's like, I don't know who would want it. Tommy says 100%. There's a week or two at the end of Q3 that sales are not as predictable. Usually I have to push through it and realize it'll happen. But you have a plan, I'm sure, for that, right? And that's kind of goes along with the gist of this live stream is I'm sure someone like you has a plan. Like, okay, I know it's going to be slow this particular month, so maybe I'm going to do this to offset that slow period. And that's kind of what I'm bringing up. Maybe there's nothing you can do to offset what's coming, just to everyone in general. Maybe there's nothing you can do. Maybe you're in a position where you can't list more items. You're listing all you can, but you need to still know it's there, because if you need the money, maybe in a couple months and things are tight, maybe you're not going to go out and spend the extra money you're making now. Dan Frisco, keep in mind, starting in June, promoted listings will change. Now take the percentage of all combined item price, shipping, tax equals the promoted fee. And of course, eBay is going to have to make their money off of the seller. That's just the way they do it, right? Let's see. Doing what we call BT for the next 3 weekends. Bulk trash pickup in the neighborhood town. Always get some of my best stuff for resale on the curb. And you can get good stuff on these apps, the OfferUp, the Let Go, these type of things where people don't really care. It's like, look, this thing, whatever it is, it's in my way. It's in my house. I don't need it. I don't want it. I'm clearing my garage out. Whatever their motivation may be, there's people out right now that would rather give it to you, get it out of my way, than to have to wait, weeks for someone to come and pay them for it. So you'll be surprised how much stuff is out there that you can pick that won't cost you anything, especially if you're looking at reselling for the first time. Those are great tips to start getting items to sell on eBay. Winter Crow, my favorite source today, scored a mint New Zealand Stockman's duster with original $250 tag and a box of vintage Tintin and Asterisk graphic comics. Awesome. That's pretty awesome. Now, of course, it may take a minute to sell that duster when it kind of cools down. I haven't needed to hit a Goodwill. I shy away from them anymore since their hiked prices the last few years. But I have one down the street, and I tend to gravitate towards electronics. I think there's a lot of people who sort of bypass it, and I'm still finding good stuff when I go there. I think every time I go there, I usually leave with like 3 to 5 items on average by the time I'm done. So it's not all that picked through. But if it was a well-stocked Goodwill, I'm sure I'd have 5 to 10 items when I left. Let's see. Went to a garage sale today where one guy had some nice light-up advertising signs. Wanted around $300 a piece. Wow, that's nuts. Yeah, and they kept quoting eBay prices. For me, it's like, okay, then how come you're not listing them on eBay? And you're selling this today. If you listed it for this price on eBay, you're not selling it today. It's going to take you a while to sell it. And yeah, people are trying to use it for leverage. So just like you're trying to maybe say, okay, I'll give you $50 for this item, and they want 300. They're going to use that. I can get it 3,000 or 300 on eBay for it, just to keep that price high and to sort of win that bargain. I think that's probably more why they do it. Let's see. I just keep sourcing, and yes, John, it's hoarding as far as I'm concerned. Yeah, but you know what? It's hoarding if you do nothing with it. If you buy all this stuff and you, after months, haven't done with it, it starts to become hoarding, right? If it blocks your way through your garage, and you have a hard time getting through your garage, but the next day say, you know what? I have nothing to list. Yeah, I can think at that point it's hoarding. Douglas says, listing and shipping is work. Opening the boxes and seeing the cool stuff you get is fun. It is. It's like buying a lottery ticket, right? But you got to do something with a lottery ticket. Once it's done, you got to throw it away, right? And I know that's a bad analogy, but at the same time, there's going to be ups and downs in this business. And if we just focus on the fun parts, it's going to be hard to get through. That's for sure. Trying to get through some questions here. Don't have a whole lot of questions. We're at 49 minutes into the video, so that's pretty good. We've had pretty good discussion so far. Kent says there's no money in shoes. I beg to differ. I think it just depends on the shoes that you're selling. I think that there is a good market out there for shoes. That's for sure. Just got back from 80 garage sales, so much better than the thrift stores. And this is the time of year. People are getting out there. They don't mind getting up at 6 in the morning, 5 in the morning, whatever, to get ready for a yard sale. It's not so cold in most parts of the country, and this is the time of the year. Out here in Vegas, we have yard sales, but I haven't ventured out. I just haven't. It's not really been my go-to thing, especially when I have stuff to sell, maybe something I need to look at, but right now it's not something I've really looked at recently. Let's see. Did find a source through though, so it wasn't a huge loss. Guys, closing his business is going to give me first dibs, and that's the thing. If you can find someone who can give you a deal on, let's say they're closing out their store, old stock, this, that, and the other thing. That's the key. Finding the source, finding a relationship with a reseller. I went to ASD. That's a convention that they have every year, and it's ASD Market Week. And there's a lot of different companies out there. It's a great way to network and to meet sourcing opportunities. And I didn't do a great job. I got to tell you, there's a couple liquidators that I simply thought were great opportunities, and their information, I had their cards, I had all that stuff. And the bag that I had it all in, I have no idea what happened to it. No idea the name of the company. And they had great stuff. And I really thought it would have been a great way to get, more stuff like the stuff that I buy. And I'm going to have to wait till August to try to meet up with them again and hopefully build that relationship. So if you can build a relationship in reselling, that's definitely going to take you far, rather than just living on an island and going to this yard sale, going to that Goodwill, and maybe picking up items here and there. Developing relationships is going to take you to that next level. Let's see. Kent says Goodwill is not a supplier. You're right. And that's why it's a supplemental supplier. Certainly go to Goodwill, pick up stuff that'll supplement what you're doing. I never stopped buying liquidation. I just couldn't find it that often. And so on the weeks that I was having a hard time finding stuff, I'd go to Goodwill, and that gave me 5 to 10 items to ship in a 2-day period, that type of thing. Justin says, has anyone successfully brought in a partner, not employee, to the business reselling on eBay full time? I haven't. I can tell you, you really need to look at certain traits. How driven is that person? Has that person sold on eBay before? Have they been successful as a reseller on eBay? If you have two people that are just, that's all they do, they're grinding it out, that's all they're dedicated to, and you want to sort of pool your resources and maybe do something together, I can see that working. Maybe you want to scale up, maybe get a warehouse, start getting truckloads in, but you got to make sure that that person that you're getting into business with is just as dedicated to the process as you are, because the last thing you want is to feel like, you know what, I'm putting all this work in, you're barely showing up to help me, and you want half the profits. So be very careful about that. Really, really consider all the factors before you jump into something like that. Put your comments down below, though, if any of you have done that, what your experiences are. I'd like to know how that worked out for you. Flippin' Goody says you should have an eBay camp that seems to be popular these days. Yeah, like like a little camp. We're gone in the wilderness for like 2 weeks. We're having campfire, marshmallows, talking about eBay. No, I'm not going to do any kind of eBay, buy my $30, series of videos to get better at eBay. I'm going to give you my best here. I think if there's something that I come up with that I want to talk about that I think is important, I'm not going to save it for some package that you have to buy. So you got that promise from me. I'm not going to do that. Now, like I said, sponsorships can happen. I just don't want to turn you guys off last minute. Hey, what are you doing? You're not being true to yourself. This is not who you are. Just know, for many of you, you heard it here first. It may come a day where we do it to it does bring in revenue for the channel, that kind of thing. And my time, I think it's worth something. I think your time is worth something as well. And if I can build this channel, this is one of my goals. If I can build this channel 20, 30, 40, 50,000, definitely I would consider doing something, but it has to be the right product. I'm not going to sell you guys cat food if, only 10% of you guys have cats. That doesn't make sense, right? So, and especially if my cats don't like that cat food. So, and I don't have cats, by the way, just a bad analogy again, but you guys understand what I'm saying. I'm only going to do something like that if it's something that I can endorse, and if it's something that I know you guys can benefit from. And so I'm not going to come on here with a smiley face knowing that this item is, or this product is trash, and expect you guys to believe me. I don't think I could sleep at night if I did that kind of thing. Bubble Boy will sponsor. I do buy bubble wrap from Bubble Boy. You can see the bubble wrap above my head up on the wall. Maybe you can't, but I do buy them. Maybe I order from them like every week and a half, 2 weeks. I'll order more. So definitely, Bubble Boy, if you're out there, hit me up. I'll definitely give you guys kudos. Wanda says, John, which do you find a better way to have a wordy listing with the full description and a total transparency for buyer, or just brief few words where noting said of importance? I see both. Okay, so what I like to do is in fact, I will, instead of just hitting new where they give you no condition box, I will sometimes side on, and I know it's new, it's just the box is open, no one took the stuff out. I'll use open box or any equivalent to put the condition, and that'll be a summary of anything I want them to know, the condition of the item, because most people don't go into the description because they're using their phone or their tablet, their iPad, and they don't click on that item description box. Whereas they probably would see it if they're on their computer. But I do go in and I not only put the title, I'll then put the item description, the condition description again, and then I'll take some bullet points for that item and I'll put them in there as far as, features of the item, that type of thing. I really think the more you can describe your item within, say, 1 to 2 paragraphs, don't go any more than that. People just don't read. I think that helps the algorithm. eBay talks about having a complete listing. And I think that has to do with your item description. It really does. I really do. You have your item specifics, I understand, but I think there's a reason why that description box is there. And if we use it like that, now that's not to say you won't sell your item if you just let it default with the title and whatever eBay puts in there. But I just think they want more than that. Let's see. Do not turn down the sponsors, dude. You need to do what's right for you. If having a sponsor turns viewers off, then you don't need them. They don't need to watch your channel. I agree with that. But at the same time, if you're just saying, okay, today's sponsor is ABC lister, and then tomorrow you come at me with a totally different lister or something like that, or you know what I'm saying, a totally different product, it turns me off as a viewer. And I can imagine those of you, let's say, who don't have YouTube Premium, who are probably getting commercial to death right now as I'm talking to you. It does kind of turn you off. And I get people that are like, dude, what's with all the commercials? I can't control that. That's YouTube. But then now you're dealing with the commercials I can control, and I'm not going to throw every sponsor your way. That definitely is not my intention. I don't want to annoy my audience, that's for sure. But I definitely will consider that. I know that there's some out there who just be like, man, I'm not having it. I'm just not into the content enough to continue watching this video if you're going to sit there and give me 2-minute, 3-minute advertisements on something I'll never use. At the end of the day, this is your channel. Clearly, people like myself, many others, see value in this channel regardless. But I think of it more than that. Yeah, it's my channel. I can stop making videos at any time. But I have a sense of obligation towards you guys. I really do. There's days I don't want to do a video. There's days that I'll come home and it's 10 o'clock at night. Let's say I've been out. I do my bowling leagues Monday and Thursday nights. There's times that I'll come home, and generally I'll do my videos at night. It's the best time for me to do my videos where it doesn't interfere with my eBay stuff. And I'm not feeling it. I'm like, I just want to just chill. I worked all day. I went bowling. I just don't want to do a video. But you know what? I have that sense of obligation to you guys. I want to make content. I want to help people. It's that comment that I get from people that is like, hey, you helped me. Your videos gave me information, and I probably would have done X, Y, and Z had you not said this. And it's that keeps me going. And it's kind of what drove me at my last place of employment. It's enjoying the role of helping people. And you can't put a dollar amount on that. Really, you can't. And I don't want to turn people off for me maybe doing a sponsorship. And you'll never find YouTubers that'll talk to their audience about, hey, I'm thinking about going that direction. You just never see it. It usually just happens. And you're like, oh, when did this guy get this sponsor, right? So this is a journey that I'm taking, and I'm taking a lot of you guys along with me. So I'm constantly reaching out to you for your feedback, totally transparent with you guys. I'm totally available to you guys through email. If you've never emailed me, of course, certainly I don't always get back to you like as soon as you send that email because I'm busy, but I do make it a point. I might be a couple days behind, but get back and say, hey, saw your email. Thank you for emailing me. Because if you're going to take the time to email me, if you're going to take the time to comment down below with the question, I'm going to do everything I can. I'll spend hours sometimes at night on my phone just answering questions in the comments. And it's something that I really feel it's important because it was important enough to you to comment down below. And it should be important enough to me, to try to get back to you. And it may get to a point, we have 20, 30,000 viewers. Might be harder to do that, but I'm just saying, if it wasn't for you guys, I wouldn't have this channel. That's for sure. If it wasn't for the awesome comments I get, I would have quit a long time ago. So, and I'm not just doing this for the money. I make a little bit of money every month. Am I trying to maximize my time? Yes, I am. Am I trying to get the word out to more people to make that more lucrative? Certainly. And if you could sell your item for $10 on eBay instead of $5, you're going to do it. And that's kind of along the same lines, but I'm taking you guys along with me. This is your journey as well. And this is your channel as well. So the idea, this is my channel. I can do what I want. I don't care what my viewers think. You know what? I do care what you think. I don't care what the trolls think. The trolls get sort of silenced quickly, but the true, honest people that are along with me on this journey to learn eBay, to get better with eBay is who I'm here for. Let's see. We got maybe about 10, 15 more minutes, and then we're going to get ready to go to this not flea market, but it's a what the heck do you call it? I'm getting sort of fuzzy brain right now, but we're going to go. They have the food trucks, and they have the vendors out there, the farmers market. Yeah. So that sounds kind of fun. I have a couple friends that may go down there. We'll just visit with them and stuff. Let's see. Aunt White says, my only way to source is marketplace. I don't make enough fast enough to buy a pallet. Each time I get like $200. I look for more things. Stuff I think is good doesn't sell as fast as I think it should. And you know what? I feel the same way. On maintenance day today, I'm taking Saturdays are now going to be maintenance day for me. Going through some of my higher value items, and it's like, why hasn't this thing sold? I went through one listing, and I'm wondering if it was even listed at all. It's a Delta faucet, like a shower faucet trim kit, brand new, that I got in one of these pallets. For whatever reason, the brand wasn't selected in the required item specifics. It was blank. The thing's been up a month. I'm wondering if that thing even got any traction in buyer search, because remember, last year they told us that you have to fill in the required item specifics. And they said if we didn't, our items wouldn't be seen. And I'm thinking that may have happened. So, check your listings, take a day, maybe this day I'm going to not list. And I had listed a bunch of items yesterday. So I had a bunch of my drafts. So I launched some drafts today. I'm going to be doing something non-eBay related for most of the day tomorrow. I have drafts ready to go for tomorrow. And take that time and have a day where you're going to work on just account maintenance. I think that's very, very important. Let's see. Tommy says, are you thinking about changing what you sell? It's been quite a while. You have been saying sourcing is harder and sales are down. If I had an opportunity to buy a bunch of shoes that I knew were going to sell, for instance, just to use that example, I would consider it. But for me, I know that of the available sources that I have to buy items, I'm very comfortable with them. I know what I'm getting. I know I'm not going to get ripped off. It's building those little relationships. I think it's all about, if I, let's say, went to ASD and found, because for those of you who don't know, ASD, it's like this market week, and they have this in Vegas in August, and they have sourcing from jewelry to home goods to clothing to just anything you can think of. They have vendors there that are basically wanting to sign you up for wholesale contracts to buy stuff. And so if I was to come across, let's say at ASD, someone that had stuff and I can check similar comps and say, yeah, this is going to work, I would be on it. I would definitely be on it. So I guess it just really depends between now and then how things I'm currently selling are looking. But if an opportunity will open itself up, certainly I have no problem. I don't care what I sell. Well, there are some things that I won't sell, the adult items and things like that, just things that there's certain things you wouldn't enjoy selling. You just wouldn't sell it. I don't care how much money you make. I'm just not going to do that. Okay, let's see. The Solo Expat says, what's your eBay store? Would love to check it out and support if I need something. Value Trends with the Z. It used to be and that's VALUETRENDZ. It's not like someone asked me the other day. I told them there's nothing special about it. I have almost 700 items in there, and it's just randomness. And that's fine with me. If randomness sells, if there's comps on randomness and the random items that I sell, if I can put a competitive listing that's equal or better than the item that's sold that I'm looking at, then I feel pretty good about my chances to sell it. But yeah, definitely, if you want to support the store, send me a message if you see anything. I can maybe throw you a discount or something. Dan Frisco, that's why I love the estate garage sales, networking. Met some longtime friends too. And, it's also about getting out of a bubble. I think I'm kind of stuck in a bubble of my own. There's certain things I like. There's certain things, like when I was stuck into this, I'm not going to do anything but liquidation pallets. And finally, I got out of that bubble and went to the Goodwill, remember? And I told you guys how great it was. That on a bad month back in February, it could have been even a worse month if I didn't have that. And I think it's a great thing to be able to get out of that comfort zone. And if you can, meet people at these estate sales and flea markets and places where you buy these goods, it's only going to benefit you. Let's take a look and see what else we have here. Not a whole lot of questions today, unfortunately. A lot of comments, which is good. It certainly contributes to the conversation. Ant White says, am I limiting myself by only wanting items in original boxes? I think you are limiting yourself if you are having a hard time finding enough stuff to sell on eBay. If you have enough stuff to sell, then you can sort of be a little pickier as to what you want, what your guidelines are. I'd rather sell new than used, right? But if my new source ran out and I had an opportunity to sell used, I would have to consider going into the used market without the boxes just to stay in business, if that makes sense. Let's see. Water Baby says, cotton balls soaked with vanilla, let dry. What are you trying to do here? Magic marker. I guess you're trying to take smell out of clothing. Sometimes I am trying to find questions and comments in the side chat, and I get the side chat instead. Let's see. Wanda says, here in North Carolina in June, we have what is known as the 100-mile yard sale. People set up to the side of the road for one day on Route 301. Pretty cool as long as it does not rain. That sounds pretty cool, actually. I like the community yard sales. Back in California, there's a community not far from us that the entire community must have been about, I'd say 300-400 homes probably in that community. pretty large community would have almost every house would have a yard sale. And can you imagine just how much good stuff that you could find? And we do that. That was always fun. Let's see. Tommy says, nothing wrong with sponsors. Dividing viewers with Patreons and memberships is where it gets dirty. Yeah, I kind of wonder about that. YouTubers that have members, I mean, what do you really get? I mean, it's like saying, okay, you get like this funny avatar or this next to your name that says you contributed to the channel. You get to ask me an extra question that I wouldn't normally answer. Maybe have access to a chat where maybe you can get that same sort of help for free on a Facebook group. So to me, I just never understood or appreciated the concept of charging you guys as a membership. Certainly, I looked at it, but it didn't make sense to do that. I just didn't think that, are you really giving your audience, your core audience, your best stuff if you're making them pay for the good stuff? I don't know about that. And, Patreons and all that stuff. Now, you guys like the channel. You guys like the slogan, flip it ain't easy. Jenna's working on some stuff, some merch, you guys can wear around your yard sales, because not really so much about this channel. It's true. I think flipping ain't easy. I mean, if you could say that flipping's easy, you're missing something. I think you're not doing something right. If you can say that every day this week, you're not going to run into a blip or a bad customer or a situation with eBay. All those things make it's not hard, but it's definitely not easy. Winter Cross says, John, your channel is top quality all the way. Like Dragnet, it's just a facts, ma'am. Your hard work and honesty are much appreciated. I appreciate that. Thank you. I appreciate, it's people like you that show up to the live streams and comment in the videos that are consistent. And so thank you. I appreciate that. That makes this a lot easier to do. That's for sure. JRKR 1964. They say nobody reads descriptions, so why do they want you to write a long description? I'll tell you why I like to put descriptions in the item. So like I said before, my condition box where you can go in and put whatever you want them to know about the condition of the item. This is a lightly used item with scratches on the side. Please see photos and read item description for more information. So they see that, right? So maybe if they're truly interested in that item and they're like, well, what scratches are you talking about? They're going to look at the photos and they're going to look at the item description. What it does for me, it avoids 1,000 questions. I don't get a whole lot of questions about my items. I try to put as much information in that description. So they come back, and the questions I usually get is, will you take 15 instead of 20? But, if you have those measurements, put them in the description rather than send you a message randomly. Hey, what's it from armpit to armpit? You have that information in the listing, and that answers their question. And it's sort of the concept of customer effort. It's the concept of that. Now, in the call center business or the customer service business, we had that idea of how is your customer effort? Is your customer effort high or low? You want to promote low customer effort, meaning you don't want that customer to have to reach out to you and ask you the question. You don't want to have that customer have to do anything above and beyond just buying your item and leaving feedback, right? Anything above and beyond that increases customer effort and lowers customer satisfaction. And that's kind of the idea behind that philosophy. So whatever I can provide in that listing so that the customer doesn't have to reach out is to me is a win. Let's see. Beth says, I have multiple ad blockers on my browser as extensions. Never see commercials, just the ads people put in part of their videos. Promptly fast forward and they stop talking about the ad. And you know what? There's nothing wrong with that. You didn't click on that video about sales just to be sold something on a product you're never ever considered using. And so I respect that. And as a viewer, I think that I'm guilty of that too. Let's take a look and see. Carol C says, I'm listening while I list on eBay the items I picked up today at yard sales. Hopefully you did well. And hopefully you have money left for tomorrow, because there's still probably good yard sales that are happening tomorrow. And that's Jenna that just walked down the stairs. So that's kind of my cue that we're going to get wrapped up here pretty soon, but we'll take a few more. I've let my ad recommended kind of back up, but the amount is decreasing because the items needed to add recommended are selling. Add as much as possible and have always to select. Don't ask me again. Okay. Here's Jenna.
Hi, guys.
What is the lowest profit range I should look at? Mostly I find things I can double my money on. Should I take chances on 20 if it sells for 25? Keep your cost of goods as low as possible. To me, it's about trying to double at the very least after eBay fees, after your shipping. You got to know what you're shipping it for, or have an idea. If you don't know, you should be charging calculated shipping. And after all those expenses are out of the way, what are you making on this item? And so it's very important to consider that. If you're taking 20 on an item you'd sell for 25 and you're into it for 15, I wouldn't do it. If you're into it for 5, certainly. And you have more room to go down to 15 if you want to be more competitive, if you have that item at 5. So it's just knowing the numbers and what it's going to cost you. Let's see. Carol C. Nope, no yard sales. Tomorrow's church day. Awesome. Okay. And Prairie Pond agrees with Dan. You have to keep in mind the fees you pay and the outcome of the profit. So certainly that's what I said. You got to just know your expenses. You get in there, and it took, like I said earlier in this live stream, get in there and open up your metrics, your performance, your sales, and use those reports and find out what you made each month last year. Write it down if you don't have a spreadsheet. Write down what you made, what eBay said you made after shipping. Find out what your average sale price was per item for that month, and find out what your expenses are, and get an idea of what's going on with your business. Setting goals, I mean, this is all part of it. Knowing your numbers. You can't set goals unless you know where you're at. And they kind of go hand in hand. So the first thing you got to do before you can get in there and say, okay, I need to do this because of this, I got to know what I'm up against. Maybe things are going great for you and you just need to, your goal is I'm just going to stay on course. But maybe it's like mine. You got to build that store up because it's a numbers game. Essentially, eBay is a numbers game. If I had 100 items in my store right now, I wouldn't get nearly the sales that I get now. But the goal is to bring it up to where I was double the number of items that I had last year. And even though those items are maybe in my mind subpar as compared to last year, the numbers are going to take care of themselves. But honestly, whether you're setting goals for yourself or not, it's just another example of how flipping ain't easy. And I just want you guys to have an excellent weekend tomorrow. Just enjoy time with friends, family, doing the things you enjoy. Take a little bit of time for yourself because eBay is a grind. And I will have a video for you guys here very soon. Probably not going to do a live stream until next weekend. But either way, I will talk to you guys very soon. And every one of you guys, take care. And from the bottom of my heart, thank you for spending time with me here on this video. Take care, everyone.